So thank you everyone so much for joining our webinar, Ditch the Deployment Chaos. We'll be spending about 45 minutes to an hour together, depending how long the Q&A session is. And what we're going to do with the time today is take you through some very quick company introductions. We're going to actually launch a live DevOps maturity poll. That'll take a couple of minutes. We'd love your participation there. We're going to go through some of the challenges and the problem sets and really set the stage for really how Flosum and Quality Clouds, why we've partnered and how we turn DevOps into a competitive advantage. And then we're going to take you through a demo. You're actually going to see a quick demo, a very shift left focused demo. And we'll give you some closing remarks, a couple of suggested call to action, next step type things. And then we'll go into a Q&A where you can just use either the chat or the Q&A button to just launch your question. So feel free to get those all ready. And during the Q&A session, I will read every one of them off. Just really quick, just to give you a rundown on the right-hand side of this slide, talking through our speakers today, we have Albert Franquesa, who's the founder of Quality Clouds, here with us today. We also have Vivek Abraham, who's their main solutions architect at Quality Clouds. We have Todd Stultler, independent consultant. You're going to love him. Great introduction here. He's built Salesforce centers of excellence for many, many years, so he'll go through and help set the stage for the demo. I'm going to be your master of ceremonies. I'm Lauren Danduszewski. I run technology partnerships at Flosum. And with me, I have Dennis Dornbos, who's our product development team lead at Flosum for the past couple of years. So with that, let's get into our next slide here and do some quick company introductions. So I'm going to talk to you about Flosum right now for a couple of slides, just a few quick minutes. Flosum's DevOps tool is a native version control system for development and customization that includes environment management, code merge, conflict resolution, quality gates, release scheduling, and automation. And it also has the capabilities to support governance, compliance, and audit. So being 100% native to Salesforce really means that we meet strict data residency, encryption, and privacy requirements. So Flosum also offers a backup and security product, and we all know that Salesforce promotes their shared responsibility statement, which from a very high level says that Salesforce is responsible for infrastructure, but not data, metadata, reports, and so on and so forth. So this really shines a light on the need for companies to back up their Salesforce data properly and responsibly. Flosum is the most secure offering with on-demand or automated full-end incremental backups to your AWS instance. Just to note, we offer selective compare and restore for your data and metadata, and our pricing model allows for flexibility. It can be based on either number of users or the amount of data, and we can also archive your Salesforce data for an unlimited time period and allow you to view it via a Lightning web page at any time. And lastly on this slide, just to call out, Flosum has a product called Trust Center, which is an always-on native security solution. It's built to control governance by monitoring and scanning, and ultimately alerting you to auto remediations that we can do. This product really helps you maintain the security of Salesforce environments, and it enables org permissions as well, so that you can restrict what certain people can do at the org level, user level, or even the public group level. So that's a little intro on Flosum. We have 4 different AppExchange listings with an almost 5%. It's actually higher than 4.97 today. Average rating. One thing to call out on this slide here is we have a really amazing support team. It's a huge differentiator for Flosum. Our average CSAT score is over 84%, which we just took recently, and that's within the past 90 days. And the average for software and SaaS is about 78%. So it really just kind of shines as a big differentiator for us. We also have an average uptime of 99.9%. And that is because if Salesforce is up, we're native. We have a lot of customers. Let's just call it over 400 customers. A lot of you are with us today, and thank you so much for your loyalty and support. Flosum is really great for all verticals and especially for highly regulated industries. With that, thanks for the Flosum intro, and Albert, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Okay, thanks, Lauren. Let me start by telling you a bit of the evolution of Quality Clouds. I think it's important to get all the context. So back in the early days, well, early days means 2019, 2020, Quality Clouds was basically a static scanning tool, metadata scanning tool, focused mainly on helping Salesforce team detect bad practices in the metadata. It was great at showing technical debt, code smells, and issues hidden deep inside the orgs. That was powerful already, but we realized that there was only one piece of the puzzle. So over time, we realized that our customers needed more than just visibility. They needed to act on those insights. And that was a request that we always had. Albert, you were showing us all these errors about what we do now, right? So we start developing new tools with a special attention to performance, security, and covering the full development life cycle. And that's how the platform evolved. And this is what you see in the tagline on this slide: the shift left, fix fast, and stay compliant. So today, Quality Clouds is no longer that just a scanner tool for the metadata. Your metadata is a full DevOps quality layer. So essentially, it scans the metadata and the code. Yes, but it also provides the AI-powered fix suggestions right inside the IDE, which you will see later in the demo that we will deliver. It integrates tools like Flosum and the VS Code, allowing developers to fix issues before they reach into production, and support decision-making at the org-wide on component level. So the result is, of course, when we do this, is you reduce the risk of any deployment into your production environments. That's especially important in lean teams as well, where there is often no full-time QA or a CTA. And in a nutshell, I mean, Quality Clouds is built to be lightweight, quick to onboard, and so our journey, I mean, and that's important because we have been learning along all this time with our customers. Our journey is taking us from that static scanning to a smart, embedded solution that helps you shift left and be proactive. Next one. Yes, thank you. So, so this slide, let's take a look at this DevOps maturity model. So this is a useful framework, and you need to be, all of you need to be kind of positioning yourself in one of these boxes, because we'll do a poll on that. But this is a useful framework to understand how teams evolve in their DevOps practices. So we begin with the spiding stage. No clear processes, manual deployments, shared sandboxes, and little testing. Changes often break things, I would say, and offer minimal value. I would add on top of that we have seen many times that changes happen directly in production, which is not a good practice, as we know. Starting means teams using version control and trying to test more, but it's still inconsistent. Collaboration improves a bit, but there is still no real structure, and deployments still take too long. Then it comes the building stage, where we see more discipline. CI/CD starts coming in, code reviews are standard, and testing strategies are defined. This results in more reliable releases. Refining is the next stage, where automation really kicks in. Code scanners, quality gates, analytics dashboards. So we read the code, we read all the KPIs, and all of this reduce the risk and increase confidence in our releases. Leading teams take it even farther. Full DevSecOps, automated compliance, security scanning in all environments, and feedback loops constantly improve. I would say that's something which normally we don't see a lot of companies doing that, but yeah, that could be the latest stage. So in summary, DevOps maturity is a journey. I think we will discuss later in some slides a bit more around that. which each step forward, teams unlock better quality, faster delivery, and confidence in every release. That's the goal. That's the reason of this bundle we are presenting today. And now I'm going to hand it over to Todd. And perhaps, Todd, you can relate a bit your experiences with any of those maturity levels that we have been explaining here.
Do we want to run the poll?
We run the poll. Come on, let's run the poll. Oh, look at that.
We are running the poll.
Perfect.
So let's give a few seconds. I mean, if you are uncertain, just, I mean, yeah, probably it's going to be more around the early stages.
Choose the top one.
Yeah, probably. Lauren, as you see the answers, I think you are going to be seeing the answers. So
let's see. I see the answers. We have more people participating as we speak. So let's wait just a moment here, and then I'll do the readout.
Great.
I can tell you, though, we have over 50% in the refining stage.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Only 7% in aspiring. 20% in leading. That's amazing. Fabulous.
Wow. I didn't expect that.
Hopefully those weren't people that took my advice and weren't sure, so they just picked leading.
We have 15% in stage 2, starting stage. And these are changing with each respondent. So they go up and down, but that's just general. And then we have 12% in the building stage. So I think, Todd, that gives you a good idea, a good indication.
Yeah, but you said, again, still hovering pretty high in the refining stage.
Yes, 53% right now.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Yeah, so if you want to go to the next slide, I can give everybody a little bit more background on myself. I'm the person, although Lauren gave me a glowing brief introduction, I actually get to present the problem statement that our two partners here are going to demonstrate solutions for. So I come to the meeting with almost 20 years of Salesforce experience across architecture and leadership roles. 13-time certified Trailhead Ranger Agentforce champion. Very happy with that one lately. Experience with most of the different clouds, jumping in more and more into Agentforce as of late. Spent the last several years building and growing centers of excellence for a couple of different companies, including Intercontinental Hotels Group, Scott's Miracle-Gro, and Presbyterian Healthcare. And I have worked with our two partners on this call at those different stops along the way in different ways. But I have sat in the seats where most of you probably are currently, where you are leading Salesforce delivery teams or support teams, performing DevOps processes, hopefully, if you really did answer truthfully. And I've had familiar problems that you see in the left side of this maturity model at each stop along the way. So depending on when I joined the company, where we were at the time, but supporting multiple solutions and orgs. At IHG, for example, we eventually got to almost 30 solutions across 13 different distinct Salesforce orgs. Assuming ownership of new solutions and orgs, when I joined Scott's Miracle-Gro, they had spent about a year developing a very custom service solution and not using much out of the box. Or joining organizations where you've got no tools or processes in place at all, and you're at the very far left of the maturity model and wanting to know what you can do to move to the right. And one I actually didn't put on here, but that is probably more and more common these days, being in situations where you need to merge Salesforce solutions or orgs due to strategic decisions in your companies where you've got multiple orgs and you want to bring them together, or maybe due to acquisition and merger activity where a partner is coming on board and you need to decide, what do we do with these two or multiple instances? And our solutions that we're going to see demos of today can really help solve those types of problems. I actually haven't seen the latest, so I'm actually interested in the demo as well. But So I'm the voice on your side of the table, present as a panelist here. And so if any questions come up later, I'd be happy to talk to you about those from my own perspective. But with that, I'll pass it off to Vivek.
Thanks, Todd. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Lauren. Okay, hi, everyone. So we're going to go over the Flosum Quality Clouds integrated journey for developers and architects, anyone working within the technical team, teams looking to shift software along with quality. So that's what we're going to look at today. So it's going to be a very simple and a straightforward workflow where we're going to start with Flosum in a Salesforce environment where we see a branch record with a component, an example, an Apex class, and we're going to change some of the status of the branch record in the DevOps process and see how that workflow reacts to it and how that basically calls Quality Clouds to check for quality and how that's going to have an impact on the CI/CD process. And that would basically initiate the requirement to apply some Copilot stuff from using our AI capability from Quality Clouds and fixing the issue, remediating it, and then moving forward in the pipeline. So, and that will basically show us the seamless integration between Flosum and Quality Clouds.
Perfect. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, Vivek, and I'm assuming you will start.
Sure. Thank you. I've just sent a request to you, Lauren.
Got it?
Thank you. Yeah, now I'm sharing my screen. Can everyone see it? Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
You got it.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, as we saw on the slide with the list of steps, I'm going to start with Flosum. Again, anyone who's not seen this, so we're in a Salesforce environment, which has got Flosum installed as an application, and we also have Quality Clouds installed here as well. And we have the integration that exists in this environment. And I'm within the Flosum app. You can see a number of tabs across the top, and that's all relative to the context of DevOps CI/CD process. And we're looking at a branch where it's a record, and we have an Apex class added into the branch. So it could be code, it could be config, any metadata element that you may want to add into a branch, you can add it. Again, there's a whole set of process which we're happy to go over that in detail as a next step, to set up a pipeline, to set up different orgs. So based on your requirement, based on your current existing process or your target state architecture, we can tweak Flosum's features within the environment to suit your needs. So you could have multiple different sandboxes, UAT, production org, and then have your pipeline defined, have your automation configured to streamline your development and deployment process. So Dennis would be able to, share more details later.
Yeah, I just want to call out too, as you mentioned, Vivek, like since Flosum is built natively on Salesforce, you can customize it as needed. So once you've set up and configured Quality Clouds integration, it'll be available inside of your Flosum org too. And then just to back to this branch record before we start with the demo, you can any of the components that you bring in, whether that's pushing from VS Code, using our latest component source member tracking feature, or manually taking snapshots and retrieving it. Once that metadata is on the branch, we can start scanning it with Quality Clouds.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to move ahead with the next steps that we want to do on this branch record. So I have an Apex class on this branch record, and I'm going to edit the branch record to make this available for code review. So ready for code review. So again, these statuses are configurable too. So you can change the terminology. You can add in more steps as per your current process. So we are going to submit this for code review. And once that's submitted, what it does in the back end is where it triggers quality gates which is from Quality Clouds. So I know it's a new term for most of you. So what do we mean by quality gates is where we've set up some conditions, some predefined conditions for that particular environment. Say any violations, best practice deviations, they have to be stopped at the DevOps layer. Hence, we've got the quality gates condition being enabled from a specific date. You can either do it from today, or you can also go to a date back in the past, and you can set up these criteria. So as we know from our current customers, security and performance are going to be key for almost everyone. So hence we've just stopped high, medium, low, any type of severity has to be stopped there. So we've selected all for security and performance, and we also have other impact areas as well. So based on that criteria, it's going to look for any, deviations from that particular Apex class, and it will tell us whether the scan has been successful. So for example, I'm still within I'm back into the Salesforce org. And so the scan is run on the Copilot handler. That's our branch name. And we've also got the class as Copilot handler. Now I'm going to know that there is an issue here. There you go. So there's one issue, which is a blocker, and that's avoid suckle inside loop. So this is the Quality Clouds bit. So where we can see, okay, Flosum helps the team to be very efficient to ship software from A to B. And what Quality Clouds does is where it embeds quality, best practice monitoring, technical debt management as part of that solution. And then it gives you the insights in real time to teams to know, okay, where exactly the deviation is. Now, I could look into this issue and then go and have a look at the documentation, and that will tell me how to do it, how not to do it, so I can avoid this error and then move forward in the pipeline. And I could also ask for a write-off if I know where I need some time to write this off. Maybe we have to apply an exemption at this point. So I could ask for a write-off, which we say automated peer review as part of this process, where you don't have to communicate to your peers or your approvers outside the screen, outside the system. You could just do it quite seamless here. So I'm going to take more of a proactive approach. So rather looking into the documentation, which is a traditional model, I'm going to use our AI capability to help me to identify, okay, where exactly the issue is and how I could have avoided, what is the suggested code. So this is from a sandbox. We're trying to, deploy that. So I'm going to move into the sandbox, which is basically, it has Quality Center. So again, this is another feature from Quality Clouds where we enable the team to validate your code and configuration in real time. So at the moment, there's no issue here. So I'm going to have the selected run a quick live check. So what it does, it's going to take our best practice library. It's going to compare that class against the best practice library. So we've got the same issue here. So it's exactly the same. So I could look into that, avoid suckle inside loops, which is quite basic, as a developer. Yeah, I shouldn't have done this before. Now I'm going to ask for the QC Copilot fix. So that's going to basically take the code and then check for the best practice. We have the guidance here, and it should return me the suggested code. Now I've got the suggested code here, so that's been successful. I could also compare against, okay, so what was my code and what the suggested code is. So we've got a clear explanation and clarity of, okay, how I should have coded in the first place. So now I've got the solution. So I can go back to the recommendation, copy the suggested code here. Okay, 1 second. And go back into the Flosum screen where we started this workflow, which is a branch record. So I'm going to close this. So there's a manifest, which has got my component here. So I'm going to edit this just to sort of stop and reference here. I could have done this even at my VS Code level, even before coming into the Flosum stage. I could do it right away in my VS Code using our Copilot feature. You have exactly the same feature available there. And then I could use the Flosum's feature. There's a plugin available within VS Code for both Quality Cloud and Flosum to push the code into your environment. So I can go back into here. I'm going to select, paste it, save it. Now come back here, and then I can redeploy my code. So once I've made the fix, I can go back and then edit the status. And then from here, I could just change it from, okay, ready to merge or merged, and then move forward. Because I know, okay, we had one issue. We got the suggested code from the Copilot. We've remediated it and I'm good to go. So I'm not breaching any security or performance related best practice anymore in this particular component. And it could also be for a configuration element as well. And that's where the value add piece is. It's not just about code, it's both code and configuration. So that shows the seamless integration between Flosum and Quality Clouds to increase developer velocity, to reduce risk from a compliance standpoint, from a regulation standpoint, and also it avoids any performance-related deviations too, which would increase confidence to business users if the platform works really efficient for them. So that's the beauty of both the products coming together and making developers' life a lot easier.
That's awesome, Vivek. And you got some questions in the chat here that might be timely for right now. I'll just read those off to make it really conversational, just real quick. So they just want to know, does this have the capabilities to scan the Velocity and Omni Studio components like Data, Raptor, and hold on, there's lots of questions coming in that just.
Okay, all right. Yeah, no, I'll take the first one. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. Yes, we have rules to support Omni scripts, and we could always expand rules to support other component times as well in the Salesforce. Yes, we do have some rules for Omni scripts today.
And in terms of integration, can it be with any static code analysis tool or only PMD scan?
So we can integrate with, yeah, we're agnostic. So if the teams do want to use their current static code analysis tools, we can integrate with them. That's fine. Yeah.
I mean, just let me add on that. We have our APIs as well. So they can be called and we can deploy any API that it may be needed. But yes, I mean, we could integrate and we could mix the issues found by SonarQube and PMDs into the solution.
Yeah, and just one more thing to add, just probably I should have mentioned it during the demo. So today we have over 860 rules, and again, that's not set in stone. So we keep adding rules as per Salesforce releases. We talk to our customers, partners. We tend to enhance that list. So we're happy to have that and integrate with your current tech stack too. So that shouldn't be a problem. Yeah.
And there's one more question that might be relevant right now, which is about scanning Agentforce metadata.
Yes, the most recent addition on the rule set is where we've got rules for agent topics. So which we've just done it, and me personally, I've been doing some testing earlier too. So yes, and we do have plans to expand that to support more components along with agent topics. So yeah.
So on AI, what we are doing is first of all, we're identifying all the components that so Quality Clouds. I mean, oftentimes I explain it in 3 pillars. So inventory of what you have in terms of configuration elements and applications and all of that. Then we scan all that metadata, again, best practices, and the third pillar is all the insights that you get, KPIs and everything. And there is a question as well on technical debt, which I'll cover now as well. So on that identification of C's configuration elements on AI, this is what we are now adding. So we will be showing, or we are already showing, because I think it has been released already. We're already showing some of the components that Agentforce that are being built into the orgs that will help companies as well to add governance on that AI and how it's being built and how are things being done with AI. There is another question on technical debt, which I can cover as well. So the way to calculate technical debt is we have for every violation that there is in the rule set, which there is another question on the rule set as well, which I'll answer as well. So for every violation that you have in the rule set, there is a time to fix that violation. Development time is not testing, is not project management. So we'll end up is pretty basic. What we do is we'll end up adding all that timing in the violations, and that gives you that technical debt estimation. This development time again is not. We are not adding here any testing or any further project management that you may require, but it's a good indication And probably the most important thing when we detect technical debt is the trend. So you always see, and that's part of the insight that I was mentioning, you always see the technical debt that I had 6 months ago, a month ago, 3 weeks ago. So you see the trend, and you will see that whether you are getting better or not at that. And I think it's more important the trend rather than the technical debt number itself. Can I take another question then? I guess, right? Because there is plenty of questions coming here.
You know what, Albert, it's your section anyway, so take
Yeah,
the
yeah,
question and
yeah.
we'll put the
So
slides up.
yeah,
Can I, Albert, can I add one more thing from my
yeah, of
perspective
course,
that was
of
really
course.
helpful
Yeah,
when we've utilized the tool? The technical debt hours per issue type are editable just like the rule set is.
Yeah.
And you can change the priority. You can change the number of hours that each respective issue type represents. So QC has provided, a baseline for you, but it's easy to switch and say, well, for us, this type of issue actually isn't urgent or high priority issue, and it's only a 1 hour fix instead of a 4 hour fix, so that you get the representation of technical debt the way it makes sense for you internally.
Yeah,
which I think is a great feature.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just one more thing to add. And also, if you think where, there are certain things, it could be just maybe the noise, that's, you don't want to see it in the platform and you want to minimize it, you can deactivate those rules too. So you have the flexibility to change the severity, as Todd was saying. So if you think, okay, this is probably not a high, maybe a medium, probably not a good use case. But yeah, if you do think, okay, the severity is not correct, but this is our point of view, but you do have the ability to tweak any of our existing rules, but deactivate them, or probably you have your own rules, set of best practices that was defined, but within your center of excellence, we can customize and add custom rules for you.
Yeah, and I think just to add on that, so there are two ways of when we do the calculations of technical debt and all of that. So what we call the baseline, which is the rule set without changing anything, and then your numbers. So you can always, for example, you have benchmarks in Quality Clouds, so you can compare with the benchmark, and that benchmark is always based on not changing the rule set, right? So you can always have those numbers, those two numbers, even if you change the priorities and the rule set, you deactivate rules and everything. And there is a question around metadata for Data Cloud. I don't know whether we already released that or not. I think we don't have it. Vivek, do you know if we are?
Yeah. So yeah, again, we had some discussions around Data Cloud. So we're still working with our partners and customers to understand how they use Data Cloud, where we can help. So yeah, we just in the phase where trying to understand where the deviations are within Data Cloud from a configuration standpoint, from a coding standpoint. Yes, we do support all the metadata elements on the core platform. So if you do have anything that's impacting your Data Cloud that sits on the core Salesforce platform, we can support you today.
Yeah, there is another interesting question from Sahil.
Yeah, different business units can describe.
Yeah, you can do it. You want to explain how to do it, but
sure. Yeah.
Go ahead, Vivek.
Yeah. So yes.
So the question is, perhaps read the question for the.
Yeah. So let me try to understand. So you're just saying if you can have the rule set defined slightly different from each of the environment, rather just
for every org. Do you have the rule set for every org?
Yeah. So that's quite basic. Yes, we have that today. So yeah, you can pick your sandbox 1, for example, you could have 600 rules active, whereas for sandbox 2, you can have 800 rules active, and they could be different rules. You can change the severity, depends on what you do within that business line. Yes, our customers do that today, and that's completely possible.
So if you have, for example, an org, which is, I don't know, let's say a call center or whatever, you may say performance, I don't want to accept any performance issue, then you can set up those rules as high severity and add quality gates for that. So and you make sure that that business unit don't get any performance issue into production, and that integration with Flosum that will stop that deployment.
Yeah. Again, I'm just bringing this on the screen as we talk, just to show you some visuals here. So this is how the AI prompt template rules look like today. So it's deactivated by default, because when we do introduce it to deactivate, like you can activate it. And then, yes, you can change the severity, you can change the time to fix, as we discussed a few minutes ago.
Great. We got a little mini Q&A right going there.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I'm gonna share the slides again,
Sure.
Albert, and hand back to you to just do some visuals real quick.
Yeah, there are like 2-3 slides more before we finish, but we can go Q&A as well on the slides. So this slide, well, mainly in Salesforce development teams often, I mean, I'm a bit now, perhaps I was just thinking when I was seeing the pool results, I was just thinking, oh, the audience is really high on the right-hand side, right? So probably this doesn't really apply, but what this slide is saying is that the teams normally face 2 big issues: fragmented DevOps stages with disconnected tools and teams, and compromised platform performance that increases risks and cost. So the bundle, Flosum and Quality Cloud, solve this by combining the automation, risk, and quality management, helping to eliminate disruptions and cut costs and move faster with confidence. And that move faster with confidence is important. With Flosum, you can move faster. Now with Quality Clouds, we add that confidence, which is the quality bit on it. So with Flosum and Quality Clouds combined, you get this complete solution that covers every angle of this modern DevOps. I would say the partnership brings more seamless development life cycles, faster deployments, faster fixes powered by AI, as Vivek was demoing, smarter testing, and scalable performance that supports long-term compliance and sustainable growth. So it's all-in-one DevOps accelerator. It's one solution, one package, all the essentials for secure and efficient delivery. And in the next slide, which is quite busy, I'm not going to, I mean, this slide shows the full scope of how Flosum and Quality Clouds power every phase of the CI/CD pipeline, from planning, building, testing, releasing, and optimizing. I'm not going to go to walk through every single box because it will take us for a few hours, but this is more for your reference. You can screenshot it and you will have the slides later. But the key takeaway, I would say, that the joint solution is not just automating tasks. You are embedding quality, security, and performance across your entire delivery life cycle. Whether you are planning releases, building functionality, scanning metadata, testing, or monitoring performance, there is built-in support for every stage. This is what we are saying in here. And the bundle is a comprehensive setup designed to help teams to ship faster and with quality. And Lauren, I think I'm finished. Back to you.
Yeah, no, this is great. We're going to launch into the Q&A in a second here, but just to recap what could be a possible next step. If anyone would like to do a deeper dive on any of these suggested areas, that would be great. After the Q&A is done and we, fix the recording and everything, we're going to send it over your way along with a personalized thank you note. So we'll be following up with everyone. But the suggested next steps could be either a maturity stage session where we can do a deeper dive into your particular stage and your plan for growth. We can hone in on that bundled solution that Albert was just showing between Flosum and Quality Clouds and even a testing solution. We can take a look at both what Flosum and Quality Clouds is doing with Agentforce and with AI agents to both better our own products and how we enable Agentforce for you and your customers. So with that, what I'm going to do is open up the chat. There are some questions here. You can either share your question in the chat or the Q&A. So either way works. You can find the Q&A at the bottom of your panel. So here we go, team members. I'm going to start to read these out. All right, so the first one is, who in my prospects organization would care most about that data security and redundancy that you were talking about earlier? It's usually not the Salesforce practice. So who would it be?
Dennis, do you want to take
Yeah,
it?
I can take a stab at this. I mean, obviously, anyone on your security team, your CISO, anyone who wants to enforce best standards, right? Anytime we're putting highest quality code into production and using quality clouds and Flosum, we stop that from even getting to QA. We're putting, as the kind of the theme of the whole webinar is shifting left. Instead of waiting for a tech arc to find that sockle inside of a for loop, your scanner will do that before you, and your developer can do that and make those changes before even submitting for a code review. And then again, along with performance, instead of waiting for your QA team to find those performance enhancements, we can find those early on using quality clouds and Flosum to stop using the quality gates and quality clouds to find those issues beforehand. So obviously your end users will do that. Obviously, I think your dev team and your tech arcs will also appreciate this, but really, we're making sure that the highest quality code is making it into production for less defects and less downtime.
Great. I think
I was going to chime in real quickly on that one. There have been a couple of times where I've done exactly what Dennis indicated and have surprised our security people by coming forward before they were even aware of what really was going on in Salesforce. Because in a lot of organizations, Salesforce lags behind the rest of the IT stack that may be offered and supported within the company. But those are definitely the people that are going to be interested in these conversations, and I think will be happy and probably more lenient if you are then participating proactively.
perfect. Yeah, thank you for adding that on. I think this next question might be for the Quality Clouds team. Do I need to install anything in Salesforce?
Yes. So yeah, we have packages which we need to install into the environment, and that would just make the integration very seamless. It's just installing the package, and you'd be good to go with that.
Okay, sounds good. What kind of issues does Quality Cloud detect? I mean, I think you covered a little bit of that, but if there's anything you wanted to expand upon.
Yeah, sure. So again, it's all around the best practice violations. We do identify dead code as well, which is unused code, duplicate code. So when it comes to issues, we look at security violations, as we said earlier, any hard-coded IDs, hard-coded URLs within Apex code, for example. Again, we have over 860 rules today. So it's quite deep looking at your Apex code, Visual Force pages, Lightning Web Components, plus as I said, the key differentiator here, the huge value add piece is around configuration. So flows, for example, and also the prompt builders around agent topic, agent force that we discussed earlier, where we gave you a sneak peek of those rules. So we look at any, again, security or performance violations within configuration elements or any third-party libraries that you may have used within static resources. So we look into that too. And if you have too many profiles or roles or sharing rules, so you can control the number, the quantity within the best practices. We track everything. So it's pretty much anything to do with metadata in the Salesforce platform. We'll be able to cover that from a gold standards perspective.
So just let me add something on that. I mean, when it comes into this into the best practices, and I think Todd was mentioning that as well, that you can add your own rules. But one thing that we do as well is we take some rules that are coming from CTAs, some rules that are coming from customers, and we say, look, this could be beneficial for all customers, and then we try to put them into our rule set in the releases. Every time we do a new release, you need to activate those rules, because otherwise, I mean, it may change your technical debt and all of that. So we want to make sure that you are owner of that technical debt, and we don't, from every release, we don't change that technical debt, but you can deactivate those new rules that are coming. But you guys benefit of, I mean, the wisdom that is coming from the community, the Trailblazer community, and I think that is important, because it's always adding that value. And I think, Todd, you use that as well in your previous companies, right? That ability.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I appreciate nobody mentioning how many lines of duplicate code we found.
Well, that was a surprise. We thought it was a bug of the product, to be honest. We're not going to mention it.
So one more statement type question here. I'm just going to read this one off. Many of our implementation customers already have well-developed DevOps practices for other platforms. It's very tempting for them to use those tools for Salesforce. How can I convince them to use a Salesforce specific tool like Flosum? Dennis, maybe you could take this one.
Yeah, I would say since Flosum does have its own native version control, it's built around kind of similar to Quality Cloud. It's built around Salesforce, Apex, Visual Force, Pages, Lightning Web Components. It's not Git-based version control system in the back end that doesn't handle XML in the same way. So things like that, if you're looking for XML parsing, node matching, those are features only found in Flosum because it is native on the platform. So.
Great, perfect. And Albert and Vivek, and maybe Todd, this one's definitely for you. What's the difference between Quality Clouds and traditional static analysis tools or the new Salesforce Code Analyzer?
Sure. I can take this one, and Todd and Albert, you can jump in if you want to add anything there. So the static analysis tools, they're great tools. They're there for a purpose, but oftentimes what we heard from our customers and partners is so they just look at programming language as a generic layer. In general, they're more of like a language agnostic tool. Whereas what we've done with Quality Cloud is where we've gone quite deep into the Salesforce best practices and any sort of like specific nuances that you'd be following within Salesforce platform. And again, as pointed before, the real value add here is where it's about also being able to extend that across multiple configuration elements. So, and we've seen a lot of static tool analysis, they don't cover the configuration bits. Plus, that's just one element of the puzzle. The other elements here is where tying that back into the automated peer review process, getting the 360-degree view of your overall Salesforce estate in a more of like a traffic control center view in our portal, plus also streamlining that with integration such as Flosum from a DevOps standpoint, and having the Copilot, the AI capabilities to help you remediating code in real time and configuration in real time, and being able to deliver faster. I think these are the main differences and the key points of Quality Clouds from rest of the tools available from more of a static analysis tools perspective.
So let me take that last question around the AI, and the technology we use. I mean, or do you want to cover that one, Vivek? The technology we use for AI to fix code, or the suggestions?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we use a GPT, a 4.0 version, and it's hosted within our stack, our own Microsoft Azure stack. And the key here is where we never scan any customer data. No business or transaction data would be scanned by Quality Cloud. So we only look at the metadata, and we look at the best practice, and we're not training any model. So we just look at the best practice. We look at the suggested code. We send it to the AI engine, and we just relay that back to the customer on the screen. So again, none of your config or code has been taken out of your platform and has been stored anywhere. It's just like, we surface it within the Salesforce org, and where we don't pass any data to any third party. It's all hosted within our Microsoft Azure stack.
Perfect. Now, I think we're at the end of questions. I don't see any more coming through. Let me do a quick double check. Nope, I think we are good with questions, and we're right on time to go ahead and wrap it up. So like we mentioned, we're going to follow up with everyone. We'll send the recording. We'll send a quick thank you message and see if you'd like to continue the conversation in any number of ways, some of which we outlined earlier. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much to the Quality Clouds team, to Dennis from Flosum, to Todd for your help and assistance. And thanks for the audience for participating and engaging with our poll and asking great questions.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks all.
Take care, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.